Caster Caster meta gonna be up over on team 1. We got ourselves Diabolicals first up with a big old candle on his head. Haysher on that team, Immense and Chicago in the back, with Diabolicals facing off versus depopulating fairly quickly. The opener is gonna go for full immunity against magic damage as the Paladin Crusader going in for the big crusading wings. Diabolicals looking to back up out of there while the Paladin is protected by the blessing of Spell Warden, I think it's called. Big Infernal dropping down in order to disrupt the Paladin. Try to see if he go for Human Racial just to stay on top of Diabolicals quick. Second BCC boarding in behind the pillar is going to try to see if he can establish a Bonzafell, but instead just try to see if he can send the Paladin as far away as possible. Bonzafell making the Paladin have to walk through it as best as he can. Shield of it should be have him covered up for a little bit there. To stick together with a wall, potentially Dia going in for a portal. Just trying to see if he can put a slow into the Paladin. The man is just unabated. He's just going to keep rushing back over towards Dia. He's going to go for a bubble for this and just try to use whatever immunities he's got to stay on the Warlock as best as possible. Reflect up in case there's a Hodge. Mortal sent in together with Soulfire. Maybe a second BCC off of that. Depopulating does not want to walk out of that. Mad damage does blind the pet for a second. Big damage with Dia, but he's also got plenty of instant caster follow up together with Stoneblood up next from one Paladin into the next, huh? Stoneblood trying to see if he can avoid the port away from Dia. Actually able to chip away past the Warlock's defenses quite a bit. Diabolicals no longer have a big defense anymore. Got himself big Soulfire, so he's going to put Stoneblood a little bit on the back foot. And looks like he's going to go for a bit of a retreat. Perfect opportunity for Diabolicals to punish him with a bunch of instant cast damage. There goes the Forbearance together with Lay on Hands for Dia. This is an opportunity to actually make some pressure, make some damage. He's gonna port right up on Stoneblood with a reflect in case there's a Hodge. Mad damage on a Dia. Wait a second, does he just enter right there? Blind to follow him in the bed. Are disoriented for just a second. Stoneblood trying to see if he can continue the recovery process. Big wake of ashes behind the pillar. Trying to see if he can catch up a little bit of health. Also trying to make sure he doesn't cleave too many guys over in the team 1 that he's surrounded by. This is gonna be a succubus. You see that he's gonna attack you for a bit. With Diabolicals going for the Eye of Kilrock to see if they can just pour the succubus over to him. Big port to follow right after. Stoneblood out in the open. Got himself full wings, not Crusader wings, which are the strongest version of wings, just with a very long cooldown. But just a plain set of wings, which still are fairly effective, as he's trying to find himself a better angle versus Stoneblood. He gotta put the guy out in the open. He also uses Succubus CC to keep him away from any kind of pillars, and Stoneblood still holds on to a bubble as well as a blessing of Spell Ward. And Mortal Coil sends him behind the pillar, but he kind of puts himself against the platform in order to make sure that he doesn't really go anywhere. Try to see if he can use the pillar in the middle in order to give himself a little bit of a break, a little bit of cover. As an Infernal goes crashing down with a Soulfire to follow. There's going to be big defenses out for Stoneblood. Is that together with the wall as well as Shield of Vengeance have been used. He is only sitting right now on an opportunity to maybe go for a bubble or a Spell Warden at this point. And Diabolicals trying to see if he can get some damage in. Just out in the open. Second BCC with a Bonzafell right after. Trying to see if he can pull the Paladin away from Bonzafell. Is going to end up forcing him out, but a bubble is going to be in there. And Stoneblood got himself damage as well as defense together. Trying to see if he can just crack through the Warlock's defenses as a wall not available for a good bit. Dark Pact also not available. Reflect up in case there's going to be a Hodge. And Stoneblood got plenty of damage. Going to be an interrupt onto that Shadow Fury. Diabolicals might be in a bad situation. Trinket for Trinket right now, as it's going to be a second BCC to a gateway for Dia. Has Stoneblood kind of out in the open, trying to see if he can maybe keep him away from any kind of pillars. If you can use the Succubus to pull him away from any pillar, that would be fantastic right now. But Stoneblood is extra aware of the Succubus, extra aware of where Diabolicals is at, and is also able to remove a lot of the magic effects off of himself. Got him some big Soulfire, Bonzafell, Mortal Coil, big damage all together. Stoneblood does go for a Shield of Vengeance together with a wall, most likely. Yeah, it is a wall. It's so hard to tell with a wall. You have to look for that little bubble, little absorby shield inside of that Shield of Vengeance to find it. But it's like it's so faint. But if you know what to look for, you can kind of tell that he used it. I wish it would show up in the UI. Fear onto Stoneblood. No way for him to get out. Wait a second. This says Forbearance. Wait a second. Oh my goodness. Dia was able to get juke. A kick out of the Paladin. Gave him the haze buff he needed in order to just max up a lot of the damage. And was able to send in blast after blast after blast with Shadowhunt. Gonna be next. Trying to see if he can go for a kill shot around the corner. Just sending in the pets of Diabolicals. You see one kill shot, one kill command. And you'll have him Mortal Coil for Diabolicals. And we'll let you follow him. Got him so far with a second BCC, but it does get broken too. His adaptation Trinket, stun to follow, wall up for Diabolicals, Shadow Fury kill shot. That's gonna be so deadly. Oh my goodness, just needed a couple more hits and he just had him. The Warlock was spent after fighting 2 Paladins in a row, man. Definitely was fairly spent. Caster Meta gonna be up next, trying to see if he can go for a big damage onto Shadowhunt. Chimeric Poison is gonna silence him, slow him, and also reduce some of his damage as well as healing for a little bit there. Gonna be a kill shots out of Shadowhunt. Ice Block early out of Caster Meta. I guess they decided, you know what, this time I want to make sure that Ice Block is at least used at some point in this duel. Dampen is at 30%, and honestly, if you get yourself a kill out of that Ice Block strat, as long as you get a kill, you'll be good to go. Freezing Trap waiting for him, and Caster Meta decides to dip out of that situation instead. Arcane Surge, trying to see if he can go for that moving Arcane Surge whenever possible, but so far has not been able to go for the proper go. Nova onto Shadowhunt. Let's see, maybe go for a Poly. Stun with a Silence. Let's go for a Trinket Breath with a Poly right after. There goes probably Adaptation. Forgot about that entirely. No interrupt this time around. Big damage on a Caster Meta. Might himself a proper go. Big Barrage. Arcane Missiles to follow. Trying to see if he can chip away through him. That's going to be Shadowhunt. Trying to see if he can go counter offensive. Barrage to follow into yet another Chimeric Poison. It's going to go for a silence onto the Mage as Caster Meta got himself missiles to follow Shadowhunt with a big defensive 20% DR. And that's going to be a scatter shot as it's trying to go for a little bit of cooldown reduction. No Ice Bug this time around. And Shadowhunt does get himself a kill shot to follow. Wait, Erlis walked up, made meat out of the guy? Wait a second. Is that because the guy put up a flag of one of the homies? Erlis is like, maybe that's what's going on? I hate Hunters so much. Yeah, Hunters are not, I think actually a Hunter might be difficult for a mage right now, aren't they? Commands back-to-back a shot on, trying to see if he can get himself some damage versus Shammy. As he got himself the full ascendance, actually somehow was able to juke out a kick, and that's gonna be shot and getting blasted out by instant cast hits into, oh my god, the lava burst back to back together with lightning lasso, stone to follow, bleed out for Kevin. This is gonna be immense, trying to see if he can back away from the warrior, but at this point, Kevin I think may just have him right now. Try to see if he can blast him out as best as he can. Immense, kind of lowish on health, backing up out of there for a second. Leap by Kevin, but he wasn't able to connect just yet. Does give himself a proper intro onto Immense. The Shamans, though, especially against melee classes, do have quite a lot of that advantage. The knockbacks that we've seen last night with the EU, with the Elemental Shamans knocking around melee, tossing them around like a beanbag with constant roots, constant control abilities. I mean, it's just rough for a melee in most cases just to really lock him down. Burrow to follow, but more a defensive Burrow with a bit of a knockback a little bit. Immense trying to see if he can go for some instant cast. Kevin maybe in a bad spot where hold on, maybe turn it around like less. Oh my goodness. Immense was able to go for a bit of a knockback, knock up, instant cast, and then a Latin Lasso to finish it off afterwards. Elemental joining in immediately, knockback, and that's going to be a stun out of Airless. Does already use a trinket kind of early on. Cheap shot to follow versus Immense. I see does go in for a wall here. And Airless is still slicing right through the wall either way. Doesn't even matter that much. He said, oh my god, blasted through it. Wall means nothing to Airless. He's able just to bypass it entirely. Like it doesn't even exist. Get a shot to follow. Knockback. That's going to be another shadow step out of Airless. No trick this time. Wants to make sure he stuns up very much AR type. Mad damage onto Chicago. Immediately going to go for a wall as well as a Adrenaline Racial. Trying to go for a Sunder, but it's going to be quick blind out of Airless with a Cloak of Shadows. Got himself a bit of reset sap into Chicago as they do get down a totem in order to give him a little bit of passive healing. Airless trying to see if he can find himself a better angle here. Shadow Blades to follow. Gonna be a trinket out of Chicago. Cheap shot to follow. Is this over? Is this done for? Does Chicago have an answer? Burrow last second, but I think Airless just needs a Shadow Strike on the guy. That's exactly all he needs. Oh my god, that's so much damage. Oh my goodness. Diabolicals does end up getting two. Airless picking up two and finish it off for his team. And Immense even makes a pretty big comeback as well. Well done, everyone.